Hey, it's Monday, and we got a great show for you today, man. I got Rashun Mack from Dalton, who is putting together the Wright Excellence Festival this weekend. He's going to be on today to talk about what he has planned up in Dalton this weekend. But before we get to my special guest, I want to talk a little bit, right? I got a question for you. What shape is your circle? People talk about keep the squares out of your circle, right? But think about what shape your actual circle is. Do you only have one circle? Do you have multiple circles? Is your circle big or small? You know, think about the actual shape of your circle, because I think it's important in order to go to the places that you want to in life, in order to be successful, is to always evaluate the shape of your circle, constantly tweaking it to fit where you are in life. Those of us will meet people and we'll outgrow them. And maybe some of those people you outgrow should no longer be in your circle. Or maybe they leave your tight circle and become a part of your extended circle. But you should always be looking to improve your circle, because if you're the smartest person in all of your circles, you're probably not in the right circles. If you're the most successful person in all of your circles, you're probably not being pushed. But also, if you're not being embraced for who you are by those in your circle, maybe you're not in the right circle. So you always have to evaluate the size, the shape of your circle, and maybe you need more than one. But hey, it's the big baby. And I'm back. And like I told y'all, I have a special guest today. So without further ado, Mr. Mack, how we doing today, good sir?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm not doing too bad, man. Just happy to have you here, my friend.
Right. I'm happy to be here.
And so, like we spoke earlier, I was made aware of who you were by my good friend Todd and also Micaiah. So shout out to them for helping us put this together. But for those who don't know who you are, Mr. Mack, who is Rashun Mack?
Hey, yeah. First, I like to shout out Micaiah and Todd too. They've been great helping with the festival. I couldn't have did it without their help and the help of, countless others within the community. But yeah, about me, I am 23 years old.
Okay.
I'm from Dalton, Georgia, born and raised. Another fact about me, my family's been in Northwest Georgia since slavery, so 7 generations. So I have deep ties to Northwest Georgia. Like many people I know, deep roots in the area. I go to Georgia State University. I left when I was about 20 years old. I went to Georgia State University. I said that I was going to, like you said, change my circle and make myself a little uncomfortable, go to the big city and see if I could do something with myself. While I was down here, I got involved in the politics early on. It was around the same time Stacey Abrams launched her gubernatorial campaign, and I got involved with that. I was blessed to be an intern on that historic campaign, and I learned a lot. That was my first experience in Atlanta. As soon as I moved to Atlanta, that's the first position I got, the first job of internships that I received. I got a lot of good experience from there, and ever since that point, I've just had a passion for helping the community. Right, what can I do to get out in the community? Boots on the ground, grassroots. What can we do to make the everyday lives of people better, more so? And so, like I said, I'm a graduating senior this year. Thank God. Yeah, graduating senior. So I'm coming out of school. I'm hoping to do some good things in the community. Because like I said, I have deep roots there. I want to make Northwest Georgia my home. And ultimately, I want to carve out a place for Black people in Northwest Georgia.
Okay, that's absolutely beautiful. So, like I told you, I don't come here with questions. I have a few speaking points, and I like to develop them as we're talking, so it's a more organic conversation and not some stage stuff, right? So, what was it like adjusting to Atlanta coming from Dalton? Because I'll tell you, I had a very interesting experience going from Cartersville to Atlanta when I left to attend Morehouse College. And I was like, I've been to Atlanta countless times throughout my life, but actually living it, feeling it, and just being a part of that community, it's like, Jesus Christ, I've missed out on so much in the damn country my whole life.
Right. I had that experience. It came when I first got to Atlanta. It was a culture shock, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had started staying in student housing, and so if anybody knows anything about Georgia State University, it's in the heart of downtown Atlanta. And I'm really not. I was born in Dalton, but I really grew up outside of Dalton in Tunnel Hill, which is a very rural area. It's Northwest High School, for those who might not be from or who are familiar with the area. But so when I moved to Atlanta, I just got thrown into the heart of downtown. Grady Hospital was right there. I'm hearing sirens, ambulances coming all night. I'm like, whoa! Like, and back home, I could sit outside and not see a car pass all day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just used to that type of life. So I had to get used to the fast pace. Everybody was moving on their own time. People weren't moving that slow. I was used to people moving slow, asking how you're doing, things like that. In Atlanta, people have a mission. They're going somewhere. But, you know, once I moved down here and I kind of got into the swing of things, I did start to get that feeling like, okay, I've missed out on a lot. Like, you know, just the opportunity that's in Atlanta, right? Like the feeling that you can do anything down here, right? You see people just being successful, all kinds of people, Black, white, Asian, Hispanic. You know, it's really a multicultural city, and I really admire that about Atlanta. So, just that it's been actually a very positive experience. If I can just say that, an overwhelmingly positive experience.
Yeah, man, it was definitely a positive experience for me. Opened my eyes to a lot of things, and luckily for me, I was fortunate enough to be on an actual more traditional campus inside the city, as opposed to you. Like, y'all are no shit spread out. You know, office building here, class building here, dorms down here, like right by the highway type shit.
Right.
It's okay.
It's like right, like hey, the first time I'm seeing funny story when I first got to Atlanta, it was it was like when I first moved in, I was walking around campus with she was my ex-girlfriend at the time, but we were walking around campus. She's my ex-girlfriend now, but we were walking around campus and we were walking.
Hold on, lost your volume.
Somebody was calling me.
Okay. Now we lost the video. Okay, we're back.
All right, we're back.
Yep.
All right, great. But like I was saying, we were walking and I seen this man. He was over a bucket. I didn't know what was going on. I looked over and the man was taking a shit in the bucket in the middle of the street. And I was like, what the? And he's wiping himself. I'm like, whoa. What is going on? I'm from Tunnel Hill. I'm like, what? Whoa, can he not? What? And everybody's just walking past the guy. And it was like at that point, I think it was like I realized nobody cares what you got going on. Just go, mind your business. Go.
At that point, shit got real.
It got real.
So I can imagine there weren't many people from Tunnel Hill, Dalton area at Georgia State. So how did you go about creating a new circle once you left home and you got to State?
Well, I think when I first got to State, you know, you really had to have a sense of, like, when I first got there, I didn't really know who I was, right? So I didn't know really what I liked. And so, like, finding a circle was kind of hard for me. It's like, I don't know what I like. I mean, who am I going to go hang out with? You know, I see all these other people, you know, you got the kids that are in the fashion over here. You got like the LLC kids over here. You got the frat guys over here. You know, you got the super smart people over here. And I just kind of, you know, just floated around. And so like my first, I guess, few semesters in Atlanta, I spent really just understanding who I am, learning about me, right?
Okay.
Discovering myself. I had to do a lot of soul searching, introspection to find out what I like. And so when I did that, I was able to, start joining social groups, right? Clubs and things like that. And I was more confident in going out to doing those things, I walked in there with a certain type of energy, and that people became attracted to me. I went to Democratic Party meetings. I went to NAACP meetings. I started engaging in, protest around the city, for Black Lives Matter. Even before last summer, I was
Okay.
involved in protest with a man named Jimmy Atkinson. He was killed in Atlanta by the police about 3 years ago, and I just became involved and started seeing people with like minds, right? So
Okay.
that built up myself. That's built up a lot of self-esteem for me. Like, okay, I'm not, this weird guy, right? Because back home, I was kind of like a nerdy type of dude.
Okay.
And it's like when I got here, it was like, okay, we respect you. We respect what you're saying. Like we hear you, bro. Like, and so that builds up your self-esteem and confidence, so to speak.
Man, that's so interesting because I tell a story regularly here and to people when I'm talking to them. And the reason why I ended up going to Morehouse was for some of the same things, where I made good grades growing up, played sports, but was also socially active. And there were people who I could do each of those things with, but there weren't many people who I could do all of those things with, especially being Black and living in Cartersville. It just wasn't many people like me around. And after I took my visit to Morehouse, went to a Morehouse Clark Atlanta basketball game, and I said, oh shit, yeah, this is where I need to be because there are so many more people like me here. And I can understand going into college and not really knowing who you are because you've kind of had to give the world a diluted version of yourself because you're not even sure if the person that you feel that you are is an acceptable person to be. And you don't want to damage the relationships with the people that you have. So you do that. You start creating this new circle, and then you you earn the opportunity to go assist in Stacey Abrams' gubernatorial campaign. How did you come about that? And what were some of the valuable lessons you learned from that?
I would say, I found out. I just, I applied, and I emailed the man. His name's Tavon Blair. I still stay in contact with Tavon. He's a good friend of mine, and I emailed him. He emailed me back and said, you want to come in? And my resume was not worth anything.
Okay.
My resume wasn't worth anything because I traditionally I worked in just carpet mills. When I got out of high school, I went and worked in the carpet mill and went to school at Dalton State.
Okay.
So I did that, and then I worked temp jobs. So I worked in like tire factories, just any type of general labor job. And so when I got there, I didn't have the skills, right, that they were looking for. But Tavon, he was a Black man, and he looked at me and he was like, okay, well, you don't really have it, but I'm gonna give you a chance. He's like, I was that guy that didn't have a resume either, so I'm gonna give you a chance. And that moment right there, that stuck out to me. It stuck out to me because it was like this Black man, he got in this position and he reached back and pulled somebody up. He could have just said, I'm done. His resume, I left next. But he said, well, I'm gonna give him a chance. And he gave me a chance, and I took it. When I was on the Stacey Abrams campaign, I worked a lot in the grassroots part of it. We worked a lot with churches, worked a lot with universities and schools. I got real involved with just talking to people, asking people about their problems, listening to what people was going on in people's everyday lives, the struggles that people were going through. And that kind of started fueling a passion for me. Like, wow, there's a lot of people, that are hurting around the state. A lot of people, that just go underserved, and they're calling in desperate, like Stacey Abrams, you're my last hope. Like, I don't know what we're gonna do. Like, and so that kind of lit a fire in me to go do something. And there I learned the skills, like how to do it, right? You have to go to the people. You can't sit up in a tower looking down on people, telling them what to do. You have to go out with the people, and feel what they're feeling in order to really make some type of change.
Absolutely, man. And there's so much there that I kind of want to respond to. So the grassroots, I think it's so important to go to the grassroots, because the grassroots is where the direct change happens. A lot of people love to send their problems to Washington, not realizing that their solutions are right there in their own communities. Like you look at some of the issues that we have in policing and holding police officers accountable. It's not federal law. It's state laws and it's local laws that protect these people. But a lot of us don't know. We don't know that because the national story is a story that's always told. And if you look at the most impactful movements in our society, you think about what's happening. Well, we'll look at what's happening with the Me Too movement, right? We look at what's happened with the civil rights movement of the 50s and 60s. You look at the women's suffrage movement. And even as far back as the Revolutionary War, it started at the grassroots level. And that civil unrest, coupled with more and more people being mistreated, being exposed for the mistreatment that they're committing, and making it something that people cared about, that's where the change happens. But you don't get the civil rights bill signed if you don't have the sit-ins, you don't have the boycotts, you don't have the marches. And so often we want change to happen from Washington without making the change happen at home. And so it excites me to hear you talking about the grassroots, because I love the grassroots. And I think the grassroots is where the change happens. And another thing you said that really got me was you talked about it's important to talk to the people. How often do we see miscommunications amongst people, differences of opinions, all of this polarization that we have going on in our country right now? But if you actually sit people down and you have a conversation, we have way more in common than we ever would have thought from some of the messaging that's out there. But also, you get to learn a lot about a person. You can dislike a person. You can disagree with them fundamentally on how to live life. But once you talk to them, you at least can understand it.
Right.
And so why politics? Why political science? I enjoy it personally. But what made you want to get involved in it?
I mean, it's political science for me. I like the data side of it. I'm really big into data. Let's quantify the problem. Let's put a number with this. And political, like these political problems that we're having, let's put some numbers on them. Because we often talk about what's going on as Black people, especially. A lot of the issues that we have is in our lived experience. And people always say, "What do you mean? Look at these numbers." Da 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 da. It's like, well, how can we quantify the pain that we're feeling, right? How can we articulate it, right? And that's where the political theory comes in, because political science is it's a social science, and it does have a quantitative side to it, right? So when you look at the theory, it's like, how do we articulate our struggles, right? How can we put words on how we are feeling? Because if we don't have a vocabulary to express our struggles, then we're never going to get anywhere, right? We go talk to these people and we're just sounding like blah, 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 blah. We don't have the words. And so that's what I noticed. And I really wanted to get into the government, right? Like you said, I didn't know enough about my state and local governments, right? I need to understand how this system works that we're in. We're in this system. How does this system work? How does it operate? How do these pieces of legislation come through? What are the procedures? What is the norms, right? The norms of politics that the average person might not know. And so like that's what really got me interested in that. And I feel like politics is an instrument for change.
Okay.
So any change that's going to happen in the Black community is going to be a political change, whether it's a political change within the Black community, right, as a body, or the way that we conduct politics in the United States, or the United States politics on us, right? The United States force politics on us.
I'll push back on that a little bit because I think that the economic change would be the most lasting change, and it's a change that will help us become a bit more independent from the day-to-day of the American political system, because I think that a lot of Black people are relying on the government to solve their problems. And this is not me saying a bunch of people sitting around on their ass like welfare. No. That's not where I'm going with this. It's that people are looking for the government to right some wrongs, change procedures, fix things, instead of working to circumvent the government to fix their own problems. Because at the end of the day, if you got the green, you have the cash, you have the money, you have the assets, you can get what you want either through the government or outside of the government. I was watching a doc post-election time about how so many donors, they just donate so they can go knock on someone's door. It's not even about political affiliation. It's not about ideological affiliation. It is just so that they can have access to the people. So if we can get the means to the access, and then we can also gain more financial independence, I think that is the step to the liberation of the Black American. But I'll tell you, I really appreciate people like you because you like the numbers. You know, how do we quantify this? I'm a theory guy. I don't even want to work in politics. Like, I was a political science undergrad, and I love politics in a vacuum. Love it in a vacuum. But when you actually add in human behavior, economic ramifications, media manipulation, actual no shit good media journalism and reporting, right? You throw all that stuff in there, you have something that's already complex being made even more complex.
Right.
I just want to sit here and come up with ideas and let people like you go try to put them into action and see if they work. And I say, well, the theory is this right here, and here's how my theory can work.
Right. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. For me, it's like everything is connected, right? You know, there's a new field emerging. It's called PPE, right? It's called philosophy, politics, and economics. These three are closely connected. You know, a lot of people don't understand how closely connected they are. You know, the government can't just do any economic policy at once unless it's politically acceptable. If the people don't accept it politically, then it's never, the economics aren't going to go through, right? You see, that's what happened with the stimulus checks, right? We should have gotten more, but there was not enough political support behind us getting $2,000 checks, $3,000 checks, right? There wasn't enough political support behind that. And I'm not saying that, you know, you can just say, forget economics, right? Because I'm a big believer in, you know, us as Black people coming together and starting to use our dollar wisely, right? Starting to establish business and industries of our own, right? That we call our own, that we run.
I like the word industries.
Right, industries. Not just businesses, industries.
Exactly.
Get into the industry. I'm talking about like the hair industry, right? Yes. So what I'm saying, like, it's all of this is connected. You're not gonna, you can move up economically but still be trash politically, right? You see this among Asian Americans, right? They move up very well in society as far as economics, but politically they're still very weak, right? Their needs aren't necessarily heard by the government.
Oh yeah, I was about to say, yeah, they're rarely even heard, because how often, like up until recently, how often were we talking about Asian hate in America? You know, it was just not a topic of conversation after doing just a little bit of background research. Obviously, I think coronavirus and the previous administration definitely amplified some of those things, but it didn't just start then.
No, it didn't. It
It's
didn't.
just like unarmed shooting of black people didn't start with Jesus Christ. I'm losing my fucking memory. What's my guy's
Donald
name?
Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. What's
No. Well, yeah, him. But I was thinking about the shooting in Missouri.
Michael Brown.
Michael Brown. There we go. Yeah. So it didn't start then, but the message really took off around that point in time. So you need the political, the economic, and obviously the entertainment to all be there. Today, right now, I think the economic freedom can excuse you from a lot of the other political bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, some people believe that, but that's in a see, and I always tell people this, this society that we live in isn't guaranteed. You understand? We have to, political rights are essential. You can only do so much that the government allows you. It wasn't that long ago that black people couldn't work certain places. Right. It wasn't, and it was because there's an element of politics you have to get into to even participate in the economy. You have to be politically allowed in. If the government decided one day, say they just got in there and said, screw it, we're gonna get rid of all this. Well, I mean, what could your money doesn't mean anything. I mean, it only means so much. If they say, well, you black person can't buy any property, you are not allowed to own property in the United States, no matter how much money you have.
So that's when you figure out who's driving those decisions, right? Because we find out how people vote for stuff, and now that's where you have your civil unrest. It's being outside of Mitch McConnell's house with your posters. Like, I'm going to get on your nerves. How can I take money out of your pockets, right? How can I chop at the level of influence you have? Anything that I can take from you. How do I gain leverage over you so you can now listen to me? Because that's all politics is.
Yeah.
It's all a game of leverage. And unfortunately for black people, we don't understand the leverage that we have, and we do not properly use it because we have a shitload of leverage. But it takes unity in order to properly use the leverage. But we are all over the place as a people, like financially, socioeconomically, regionally. Like, we are so spread out in all of what we're passionate about, what we care about, that we can't even focus our efforts to benefit the whole, because there may be too many people in one place that are so negatively affected by it that they take a step back. It's like, do you continue to run your small business that may expand or maybe not, but it's yours, or do you take the buyout? If somebody wants to buy you out and it sets you up with a tremendous amount of wealth that you may not have had from your business, but your business may have hit that 2 generations from now.
I mean, it's all about I don't think it's nothing. I think, there's a lot that's a very interesting question, really, because there's a lot that goes in. It's a lot that goes in, because we're getting to a point of this behavior in the community, right? This is a question of behavior, our behaviors as black people in the community, our spending habits, right? How like when you get that money, right? There's nothing wrong with selling your business. There's nothing wrong. But are you making more business? Like, what do you do? Like, you don't have to do that, but everybody else is doing that. You understand? All the other groups of people are doing that. You're doing something that they're not doing, which is kind of keeping you behind. You understand?
Yeah, I want to put this out here. Like, I enjoy you. We're going to communicate more often. Like, I don't get to have these conversations very often when we're discussing and respectfully debating our political like theories and the approach to stimulating the Black community.
Right.
Did you see where Tamir Rice's mother came out against old girl who was at the Grammys who performed
Who Cardi B?
Not Cardi B. She's one of the she's a popular activist, and she did like a poem while Lil Baby performed Bigger Picture.
Mm-hmm.
But long story short, what Tamir Rice's mother was saying is you have these mainstream organizations like Black Lives Matter and these people who are now becoming celebrities in the community, in the community game, and they're making all this money. And she's like, look, we're the people who are hurting right now, and we're trying to create change in our communities. And you come here, you don't show us any love, you ain't dropping off no real resources to us, but you're taking what you can get and you're getting famous off this shit. It's like, I want to say she called her a clout chaser.
Right. I mean, and that's what I mean. And I've had this debate with people plenty of times, just about the leadership in the community, right? Historically, the leaders have been the pastors, right? Or religiously, it's not a coincidence that, the most two influential leaders in Black history, African-American history were a Baptist preacher and a Muslim preacher, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. That's not a coincidence. We are a spiritual people, and it comes from deeper, right? Because we're Africans, right? It's deeper. We're spiritual. That's just who we are. If you go to Africa, they are very spiritual people, and so historically, those have always been our political, our social leaders. They have, but we at a certain point, it became. It wasn't just about helping the people. There was money in it. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, they became so big that these people like Al Sharpton, right? Like Jesse Jackson, these people rose up and was like, oh, I'm a preacher. I mean, we shall overcome. You know what I'm saying? That's what they did. They came in and they've gotten Al Sharpton. He has his own TV show now. Jesse Jackson, he preaches at everybody's funeral.
You got him.
That's what I'm saying. And
look, and I think these like the Sean Kings of the world.
Yeah, the Sean Kings. I mean, now it's influencers now. It's not preachers anymore. See, because we're not as religious. It's influencers, social media influencers. That's who it is now.
And the young lady I was talking about is Tamika Mallory, and even there are some things in Black Lives Matter that I'm not a fan of. I support I support the sentiment, not necessarily the movement, right? Because now, don't get me wrong, doing work in the community does cost money. And for the people who do it, if you dedicate your life to that, you still deserve to make a real wage, right? You deserve to make money off of what you're doing. Not that you're doing it for money, but you need to sustain your lifestyle. And hey, if you're good at it and you're going to pay me to speak somewhere, I'm not going to turn it down. But it's about, and I can't tell somebody exactly what they should be doing with their money, but when I see these people who are activists and are getting rich off activism, it bothers me just like when I see preachers getting rich off of saving souls. It's like, hold on, you're supposed to be a representative of the people. You're supposed to be our delegate, our voice, but you're getting rich. And you're becoming the enemy because you're getting access to what they have, and you're no longer here fighting for equality for your people. You are now fighting for superiority for yourself.
Right. And your family, right? I mean, it's a motivating factor. People want to make their families, they want to take care of their families. I understand, and that's kind of the issue that the Black people have always had. If you get to move up in American society and get into the, the white majority, right? Get accepted into the white majority. Will you leave your people? That's what you have to do. You have to leave your people. You can't bring them with you. That's the catch.
And you have to you move away to a safer neighborhood because if you stay in the hood, It's like, what you still doing here? Are you involved in this? Or you got people hating. So now you get worried about getting robbed or being in an unsafe environment. It's like, I can now afford to have this nice house, this big backyard, and all of this space. But you've now taken your money out of your community. So not only are you not a source of information and wisdom for people there, or a shining example for them to see day in and day out, your tax dollars are now going to support a community that's already financially sustained and doesn't need you, but you're leaving a community that needs you. Mm-hmm. And again, it's hard to tell somebody, hey, look, you can afford to go live in the nicest neighborhood in town and go send your kids to the best school, but
don't do it.
Don't do it. You should stay here so this community can become nicer.
Right, and you know, it's the catch. It's the catch. It's the catch. About our situation in coming to America, right? Like historically, we everybody else immigrated, right? They get to get into this white majority, right? That's what they want to do. They want to come here and be an American.
Yeah, they came to America. They wasn't shipped to America.
No, right. We were shipped here. We were brought here. We got this tag, black. That's what we are. We're black, and we're always going to be black. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We are the other. And this is just the situation that we find ourselves in. And that is why, I really do understand what you're saying as far as, economic freedom, right? Being able to establish our own, right, within the United States. And because we can. I mean, it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be done overnight, but it can be done.
Absolutely. And I think it takes leaders keeping their ear to the streets, people who are comfortable working in the system, people who are comfortable working outside of the system, and those people working together in their respective fields to make it happen. But there's a few more questions I want to talk to you about before we get to what we're here for. Jesus Christ, it's been 35 minutes.
Hey, we got into it, man.
How it was beautiful. How did it feel after the results come back and Kemp wins the election to be governor in Georgia?
It felt like the start. I mean, to me, it felt like it hurt, right, that she lost. But at the same time, it was like the work's not done, right? Like this is like what she did was incredible. What Stacey Abrams did was incredible. And I seen it every day in the office. I seen it every day. Like I sat my desk, my little cubby was right around the corner from her office, and she used to come in the back way, and she'd say, "Hey," and I'd say, "Hey, Leader Abrams," but I've seen what it took. That she went to 159 counties. The Georgia has 159 counties. She went to every single one of them. Every single one of them. Nobody else has done that. You have to, she wanted to do a monumental task. So you have to do things that other people aren't going to do. And that's what we're facing in like the Black community, really. This a monumental task.
And here's what I love about Stacey Abrams, right? She did what other people wouldn't do. Like you said, she went to the 159 counties. And guess what she did after she lost? She came back and said, you know what? It's 2020. I'm not going to sit here and just make book money and get all these speaking engagements. I'm going to get right back out here.
Because the work's not done.
The work's not done. And look what she did. She swung an election. She got all of those people registered to vote. And here's the wild thing, Rashun. We're seeing in our state of Georgia, they're trying to tighten up voting voting laws so melanin's not as easy. They're going to limit, early voting and stuff like that. And I go, hold on. So instead of trying to run better candidates, adapt your policies to appeal to the people that you're supposed to be representing, right? Because as a representative of the people, I can have my ideology, but I should, as an advocate for the people, as their representative, my ideology should bend to the ideology of the people that I am here to represent.
Facts.
And what we're seeing is that, look, we already know this, that the country is more liberal than conservative.
Mm-hmm.
That's just
fact.
Fact. That's just fact. Republicans haven't won a popular vote in a lot of years. Okay, it's been over 20. Okay, have not won a popular vote, and you look at that. That's basic. But then when you see how Georgia turned just because Stacey Abrams' work got that many people registered to vote, and the mail-in voting and the early voting made people who may be apathetic about waiting in these lines, because it's like, bro, I don't got 8 hours. Like, you're asking me to give you a work shift to go do something that is my duty as an American citizen. And instead of saying, you know what, we got to be a better representative of our people, no, they're like, we have to disenfranchise more of our people so that the voices that we want to hear are the voices that get to be heard. And it's bullshit.
That's real racism. That's systemic racism right there. I mean, because we know what they're, I mean, you know, when people talk about what are you talking about? This is what we're talking about. Instead of the Republicans coming to Atlanta, you know, where the Democratic stronghold is, right? That's what they're saying. They can't win Atlanta. They know they can't win Atlanta. And they're not even going to try to win Atlanta.
But the problem is they can, because the money's in Atlanta and their fiscal policies support the big hitters in Atlanta, the entertainment, the T.I.s, the Jeezys, the Tyler Perrys. And again, I'm not saying these people would flip-flop Republican just because it's bad public perception to be black and a Republican. Mm-hmm. But Republicans, why would you not try to actually win the black vote and represent black people?
Because because they know at the same time, if they embrace these certain policies, they're going to lose some, right? Because they know they have racists on their side. They know that.
There's racists on both sides, though.
I mean, there's racists on. Okay, look, there's racists on both sides, but overtly racist. You understand?
I see it more from one side.
I mean, what I'm saying is, you know, Republicans historically, right? They are the right wing, right? It's just the right wing, alt-right. It's the right wing. That's what I mean. Like, there's a group that is
yes. Yeah. They have more slap you in the face races.
It's different types of racism.
That stab you in the back races.
Yeah, exactly. I get what you're saying too. I understand what you're saying, because there are racists on both sides. I tell people that all the time. But it's, you know, one side's trying not to play racist. Do you understand? Right. That, you know, at least you could do is try not to play racist, you know, if you're going to try to get the vote. But I guess they're just like bent on, you know, keeping this group that they have, this being like the safe haven, you know, because they would just have to not play racist to get some black people over there.
But there have been times that I've been looking for a reason to go over there.
Right. I mean, I'm telling you.
Because we are no longer, the left is getting away from true liberalism.
Right.
And we're getting too far out there for me.
I would describe myself as a Democrat, you know, but I would say I'm a very moderate Democrat. I would say I'm pretty reasonable, right? Because I vote Democrat, but I wouldn't have a problem voting for a Republican if they were the right Republican, right?
You know, if we're gonna split this thing up, right? If we're saying 50-50 is your moderate, give me about 60-40, maybe 65, 60. We'll say 60-40 liberal to conservative over here.
Yeah, I'll say that too. I'm about to say, because I do have, you know, some conservative values, right? Because I grew up in the South. Yeah. Sure. I have conservative values, certain things I believe in. But
don't take all my damn tax money.
Right, you understand. And if you do, you know, let's use our tax money efficiently. If we're gonna do that, you know, I'm not a fan of prisons, right? Like, you know, stuffing people in prisons, right? I'm not a fan of that. I think more conservatives would be on board with that, you know, because it's really very expensive to keep people in prisons. Very expensive.
And it's stupid because you don't actually do what you're there to do. We're not rehabilitating people. We're turning a lot of nonviolent offenders into violent people because they have to survive. So we can talk politics all day. I can see that. But what we need to talk about is the Wright Excellence Festival.
Facts. That's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for. What is the Wright Excellence Festival?
Well, like I said, I'm from Northwest Georgia. I've lived there. I lived there my whole life. I grew up there, and growing up there, I always felt like the other, right? The other in my own community. You know what I mean?
Stranger in Moscow.
Right. Do you understand? I didn't really feel like, it always felt like Black people were just there. Like there was never a story about why we were there. There was never a reason. It was like the culture had left the area, right? And it was like, what is going on? Because when I was growing up when I was very young, we would have talent shows and things like that with the community. And as I got older, it just dissipated. It all dissipated and nothing was going on. And so I left and went to school, and I started doing a lot more research. And I discovered this man. His name was Richard Wright.
Okay.
Richard Wright. He was born in Dalton, Georgia. He was born a slave. But when General Sherman came through Dalton, he ended up going to Atlanta, and where he got his degree and things like that. And he ended up going to Savannah and started Savannah State University.
Okay.
Started Savannah State. He was a founder of Savannah State University, and he went up to Pennsylvania, started Black-owned banks. His banks were actually one of the only few to make it through the Great Depression during that time. And so Richard Wright, he was a Daltonian that I never heard of. Never heard of.
That's fucking crazy. You should have heard about him 14 times over.
Right. He was a great man. He was in the Army. He had went to West Point. He had done all sorts of great things, right? Just a great American. He actually helped found Black History Month. He actually started Black History Week, I think, or Black History. He was one of the founders of Black History Week.
Okay.
And so he's really been, he was really a very prominent figure in the early 20th century among intellectuals and just in the culture in general that we never heard of. And I said, well, this is a shame. This man deserves a festival. He was an excellent person. Mm-hmm. He deserves some type of recognition. This all came at the time where during the Black Lives Matter movement was going on as well. And, somebody told me, let's turn this moment into a movement. That's what they said. That's exactly what they said. Let's turn this moment into a movement.
I like that.
And I when they said that, it was kind of like, okay, we got to start somewhere. We have a monumental task ahead of us, right? Whitfield, I only can speak for Whitfield County, but from what I can tell, Black people there just don't have opportunity. Opportunity is lacking in the community. And Whitfield, exactly. Talking with people and the Wright Excellence Festival has put me in contact with a lot of different people. So I've been able to discuss what's going on in these communities, and it's the same thing. Opportunity is just not there. Upward mobility is not there. And it's like,
and people don't know what upward mobility even looks like.
No, they don't.
So you think about it, y'all have, y'all are a factory town just like we are. People strive, we see a lot of people see a good paying job as being a supervisor at the damn factory.
Right.
And don't get me wrong.
There ain't nothing wrong working at the factory.
There's nothing wrong with it. Like, I did some factory work in college.
Right.
I have an appreciation for it. But that's not upward mobility.
Right. And that's not for everybody at the same time. If you want, and that's why I was telling somebody.
But you're not getting 12 hours out of me in no goddamn factory.
No.
It's not happening.
And it's like, what opportunity do you have? There should be opportunity, right? There should be opportunity for people who have the skills, right?
Hey, think about this shit, though. Think about the people who worked at your school. Not just the teachers, the counselors, the administration staff. How many of them had left Northwest Georgia? How many of them had left the Southeast? How many of them had careers outside of teaching? How many of them are traveled, learned enough to actually positively teach kids. Like
I've said that before. I've said that plenty of times, man. And I've gotten flack behind that from teachers. They're like, "Well, what do you mean?" I'm like, "Dude, I know you guys. We went to school together. You went to school for 4 years. Like, what are you talking about?
You don't know shit about shit,
right?" And
only thing you can teach is what's in this damn curriculum. But you can't talk about. Yeah, I spent 5 years in California, and being from the South, moving to California, you talk about being dropped into a totally different environment that you don't know shit about, and your views on society are drastically different than the what's going on out there. And it was barbecue or mildew.
Right.
My mom told me this because I want to be involved in the education system at some point in my life. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about teaching out of college. And she was like, well, what are you going to teach? Social studies, poli-sci major. I love it. She was like, no. But like, what experiences are you going to provide in the classroom that these kids can relate to? What are you going to talk about? Going to college, then teaching? So not that you can't teach a curriculum, and not to shit on people who to figure out at 18 years old, I'm going to be a damn teacher at 22. No, we need people who are passionate about teaching. But so often you find people with no worldview, no culture, and they have so much experience on our kids. And unfortunately, in places like Whitfield County and Bartow County, you can't see the forest for the trees.
You can't. No, you can't. You can't, man. And that's the issue for me, man. It's like the lack of opportunity, the lack of culture in the community, right? The lack of culture, acknowledgement of that we have a culture, right?
Yeah.
I grew up in a town, where they drew like swastikas and nigger in the books, man, and they all this racism that people are just now talking about. We've been going through this up there.
Yeah, bro.
We've been going through it. Like, people just call you nigger for no reason. Talk about your blackness. You're the brunt of the black jokes. Yeah. You got white friends, you're the brunt of the black jokes. You've been told you can't date this person straight to your face. Like, nah, like my daughter can't date black people. Like, and you kind of look like, and you have certain experiences, and it's like, man, this community is like it really needs some culture. It needs something, some diversity.
Man, it does. And
it needs something. Somebody has to challenge this view that these people have. And that's what the Wright Excellence Festival is for, to display black people in a positive light, right? We always talk about racism. We always talk about this Jim Crow slavery, But we have a long history. We have a very long history. We're the oldest people in the world. We're black people. We're the oldest people on the planet. We have a very long history. We can talk about other stuff besides that. Let's talk about some of the positive things. And I just doing some research in Northwest Georgia. I didn't know there was a Tuskegee Airman from Bartow County.
Yeah.
I did not know that. That is amazing to me, right? From Northwest Georgia, there was a Tuskegee Airman.
And the wild thing is, we watched the Tuskegee Airman movie and we go, oh shit, that's dope.
He's a dude from Bartow County. Like, he's from where you're from.
Yes.
He's from where you're from. You can be that guy. That's what movies are for. You're supposed to put yourself in that person's position. These people that we talk about, you're supposed to be able to say, oh, I can be like him.
But instead, we focus on all the negative. Like, how many more slave movies are we gonna see? Roots told a great story, but damn it, man. I'll tell you something funny. My mom, not a big fan of Good Times. She didn't let me watch Martin growing up. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I couldn't watch Martin growing up. Sorry. And I, in turn, I didn't start watching Sanford and Son until I got a little bit older, because, again, my mom's just like, I don't want you watching, the poor black experience, the struggling black experience. So I watched a lot of The Cosby Show. Sorry, yeah, I watched The Cosby Show. It was a great fucking show. And I watched a lot of Fresh Prince. And then on my own, I found Jamie Foxx. But even if you look at the structure of Jamie Foxx, it's a black-owned hotel that's that people, yeah, they're struggling, but it's still black owned hotel. And when all the people come to LA, they come to they come to the King's Towers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I watched. For me, growing up, it was watching Black excellence and always seeing that and not necessarily taking in. Yeah, Martin is funny, but what type of value and inspiration do you really draw from watching Martin? I mean, outside of his grind, going from radio host to TV show host, yeah, I got that. But when you look at the Cosby Show, right? Look at it. You got Cliff, who's the gynecologist freak. You got Claire, who's the lawyer. Theo goes to NYU. Sandra and what's Lisa Bonet name on there? You know, Lisa Bonet. They both go to Hillman, right? Which is, your made up HBCU. And then you got your spinoff, A Different World, which is one of my favorite shows. And it's about Black prosperity and not, Black struggle.
Right. And that's, it's like you have to it's not just for Black people, right? Like, I'm doing this for the whole community, right? Because everybody has messed up notions of Black people in their mind. And I didn't realize that until I got to Atlanta, right? And that's what I learned too. Like, I remember one of my friends, he told me to pick him up one day. And I drove through this nice neighborhood. And I was like, dang, a bunch of white people must live up in here. Like, that's what the first thing that came into my head, because where I'm from, it's not like that. You don't see Black people living in the big subdivision, whole neighborhood full of them. Just Black people living there. And I was like, whoa, well, this is interesting. I ain't never seen nothing like this. And it's like, I never seen Black people just hustling, right? Legitly hustling. Like, I didn't see it like that. And so like, the Wright Excellence Festival, we're trying to shed light on the good things that people are doing. People, the small businesses, right? Our positive Black history, like the Tuskegee Airmen, Chubbtown, over there in Cedartown, a Black town, right? It was a Black unincorporated town, like in Northwest Georgia, that we don't get taught about in high school, elementary school, nothing.
Bro, we don't even learn about that shit in church during Black History Month.
Bro, and I'm saying, why not? Why not? There's Richard Wright. There's so many people that came through. I have a cousin. His name's Mel Pender. 1968 Olympics, Mexico City. The famous, when everybody did that with the Black Power Fist. A man that was from Dalton, Georgia, was there. He won the gold medal in the 4x100. My cousin. His name's Mel Pender. Nobody talks about him.
They don't.
It's like, so why? So I said, the only way people are going to know is if Black people tell the story. Let's tell the story. Let's do it ourselves. And so I came up with the Wright Excellence Festival, where we're going to have Black vendors, right?
Okay.
Black businesses. We're going to have Black culture on display through our music, through our art, through our history, right? And we're just going to have a good time and just be positive. Bring some people that have made it successful and serve as inspiration for all people in the community.
I'm so happy you're doing this, man, because it's important to display our Black excellence. And one of the reasons why I am a big supporter of the 1619 Project is because part of the problem with the perception of Black people is the way that Black people are taught and presented, like whether it's in schools or in popular culture and through the media. And when you're taught a skewed version of history, and that makes Black people appear to be inferior, right?
Inferior, non-existent, like you're not even right. You got one page. You got one page.
Exactly. Like you can go through a whole U.S. history class and you don't talk about anything Black until February, right? Which is crazy. We were all a part of the history of this country.
We've been here. They get the slavery conversation. Everybody looks at you.
Yes. But the thing is, if we were actually properly taught our history, we would have more Black pride as a people, and other people would see the positive contributions that we've given to this country and to this world, and they would not think as lowly of us, because it's hard for me and you to say, hey, yes, we're college educated Black people, and we're less of an anomaly than you think.
Right.
They hear us say it, they don't believe it.
No, they don't. They don't believe it.
Because they don't see it, and they don't have to, because
they're in Northwest Georgia.
It's Hicks up in Northwest Georgia right now who ain't left Northwest Georgia, who consider going to fucking Cartersville, going to the damn city, who will sit here and look at me and be like, I'm burning that nigga right there. He ain't worth a damn. He's never what?
Man, I'm telling you, I was a man. He told me a story. He was an accomplished man in Whitfield County. He worked through the schools. He was a black man, and he achieved. As you move up with degrees, you're supposed to get pay raises. So he had achieved his degrees, and he wanted his pay raise. And they didn't want to give him his pay raise, and he was told that by the people. They said, your degrees don't mean shit here. Like, your degrees don't mean shit. Like, we're not gonna pay a black person this money.
Shit, this black person get the fuck on.
And it's like, what do you mean you're not gonna? And it's like these people have messed up preconceptions of black people that need to be broken down. And the only way that I could see, because you can only talk to somebody so much, right? We can only have so many forms. We can only have so many. The most simplest way I can make this for you is through a festival, right? Where you just come and see it. Just look.
I love it, because I was over here talking the other day about I'm tired of people raising awareness. Like, bro, we're aware,
right?
We know, but now tell me how we can get to better. So, what all is going to be at the Wright Excellence Festival? Are you going to have any special guests?
Yeah, my brother, his name's Isaiah Mack. He's the first black person to make it to the NFL from Whitfield County.
Oh shit, that's dope. Isaiah Mack, that's beautiful.
Yeah, he plays for the Denver Broncos. I mean, he serves a good example, man. My brother, he was a hard worker. I remember growing up, he said he was gonna go to the NFL. A lot of kids say it, but he was out there in the yard. He would, he set up cones in the yard. He'd run around, do the cones. He went when everybody was partying, he was at home or he was in the weight room. He serves as an example of what you're supposed to do. He did the right thing. If you want to achieve success, you have to do the right things. You can't, there's no shortcut to success. There's no shortcut. And that's why I think all these people that are going to come show that there's no shortcut to success. You're going to have to put in the work. And if you're willing to put in the work, anything's possible, right? Anything. My grandmother served as a maid for 67 years for a white family. 67 years, like the hell. That's what she did. My grandfather, he couldn't read. He couldn't read or write. But now they have a grandson that's in the NFL through hard work, just to see the journey that our people have went on, right? And to really appreciate the story. Because like you said, the more you understand somebody's story, when you sit down and listen, you might dislike them or whatever, but you understand. Nobody can sit here and say that black people have not been on a journey in this country.
Absolutely.
Just the fact that we are here today is a sign that we are blessed by the Lord, right? That we are excellent. Because we weren't supposed to be here. For us to be here, somebody had to make it over on a slave ship.
Because I don't think we was gonna be walking.
No, man. No, and it's like I want to put that on display. Like, look at the journey we've been on, and look what we can. But it's not just about where we've been. It's where are we going? Where are we going? That's more exciting to me personally. Where are we going as a people? We can always right the ship. We can find the direction where we're going. We have the economic power. We just don't know. We just haven't unlocked it yet. We don't have enough trust in each other. We
don't have enough trust in each other. But think about it though. Think about how historically we've been pitted against one another in order to not be successful. Think about what got Dr. King killed. Fighting for the civil rights of black people is not what got him killed.
No,
that wasn't enough. What got him killed was he started to unite black people and lower class white people who, since the genesis of this country, have been in similar situations and have been fighting each other where we should have been working together. So think about this. We have what happened over the summer. George Floyd, the whole Black Lives Matter, we're going to care about black people movement. That happened this summer. 6 months later, you have another group of disenfranchised people raid the Capitol building. By no means do I support that or I think it's okay.
Right.
But think about it. Those are two substantial groups of our population who feel disenfranchised by the system, but these two groups don't even get along with each other. They're beefing with each other and not beefing with the system that has both of them feeling disenfranchised. And if you try to bridge that together and you have any type of success, every time you walk out of your house, you need to kiss your wife and your kids goodbye as if you're never going to see them again. Because you are a threat to the power structure that exists. And once that power structure actually feels threatened and you are no longer a pawn in their system, you're done. They used to think King was cute. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, we like him. We'll give niggas a little bit of something. And once he started bringing poor black people and poor white people together and started speaking out against the war and the military industrial complex of this country, all right, now, bro, you didn't say it too much. You done figure some shit out. Time
to go. Take them up out of here. Take them up out of there.
Exactly. So I love what you're doing. So you got your brother who's gonna be there, and I think that being the first anything, especially first black anything from your community, is absolutely dope. And I look forward to hearing some feedback from you for how it goes. Any other guests gonna be there?
I actually was going to have my cousin Mel Pender, the Olympic gold medalist, come, but due to some health concerns, he wasn't able to make it. So we're going to have my brother there at this time. But next year, we're hoping to have, because this is something we want to be doing annually, right? This is something that we want to showcase to our community annually.
I love it.
And so hopefully next year we can have more guests come out. We know we have Vic Beasley in Adairsville. We have a lot of people that have made it in the area.
Bruh. Vic. Yeah, I'll tell you something about Vic. So I grew up playing against Vic my entire sports life, from about the age of 8 until 17, 18. Like, competed with him and loved Vic. When I tell you Vic was always so much better and bigger and faster and stronger than everybody. I mean, from day one, he was what he is now. And I'm happy that he's become what he is. So where's the festival going to be at?
It's going to be at the North Georgia Fairgrounds. We've taken the whole fairgrounds over, so we're going to have it for 2 days, March 27th and 28th. So we're going to try to do it big for you guys. Hopefully we get the whole Northwest Georgia community to come out and support.
I'd love to see that and wish I was on that side of the country so I could have attend. Any vendors offhand that you want to shout out that's going to be there?
TK Wings, Chicken and a Bone, O'Shea Butter, La Familia Kettle Corn, Dope Souls, Clothing Apparel.
Okay.
I can't think of them all off the top of my head because we have a good bit. We have a good bit. Bronze Visionary. She's a jeweler.
Okay.
African wear. Yeah, we have about 30 vendors. We have about 30 vendors coming, all black owned.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so it's beautiful all throughout the Northwest, all around the Northwest Georgia area. So we went and found them and said, we're going to meet here and celebrate.
Man, I'm so excited for this. Can't wait to see it happen. I feel like you're going to position yourself to be involved in Northwest Georgia politics. Am I crazy for thinking that?
Nah, man. Northwest politics for me is more of a hobby, man. I don't think I could put myself to make it my career, right? I don't see myself as a career politician. I really don't. I see myself, using politics as a means to create change, right? I'm always interested in putting people in positions of power, right? Putting the right people in positions. It doesn't have to be me in position, but it has to be the right person. And so I'm all about, getting with like-minded people, crafting solutions, right? Trying to figure out what needs to be done. Let's show it to our elected officials. If our elected officials don't get in line with it, then we're going to have to do something else. We're going to have to figure something out as a collective. Because like I said, I think the most work gets done grassroots. That's where I think it gets done at.
Yeah, and politics can pull you away from that. You can be constrained by bureaucracy and all of that. And I'll tell you, that's why I have very little interest in being involved in politics, because I tell people all the time, You know who has more power than your average politician? Tucker Carlson. You know why? People listen to him every single day. He gets multiple hours whenever he, throughout the week, every weekday, and not to mention what he can do on social media to engage with the people. And he's not constrained by the bullshit of bureaucracy.
Right. That's it for me. I truly do believe I'm in the same position. Politics is it can be a very messy game. It can be very messy, very muddy. You get very dirty, and
I don't need nobody pulling up all my skeletons.
Right. I don't need no dirt on me. Don't put no dirt on me. I'm good with where I'm at, man. And if it's just me, working in the community as much as I can, starting building institutions within Northwest Georgia that support Black people, right? Support development for Black people through time and dollars. That would be what I would do.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm excited just for what the future holds, man. And just seeing if we can bring opportunity back to the area.
Same, man. I'm so excited for it. I'm happy that we were put in touch with one another. I'm happy you came here to talk. Let me see. Is there anything else that I got written down that I want to talk to you about? Is there anything else that you want people to know? Because I mean, shit, you.
Well, hey, just come out on March 27th and 28th. We'll be there March 27th from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. and March 28th, 11 a.m. till 5 p.m. Come out and enjoy the festivities. We're going to have tons of things for the kids, and come get you some good soul food and maybe a couple fish sandwiches.
Well, I love me a good fish sandwich.
Yeah, with some claw.
I had me a good one the other week. Went to a little spot. They fried a little catfish. They came fried up like my granddaddy used to back in the day, but it wasn't too bad. So, man, make sure Northwest Georgia, you go out and support the Wright Excellence Festival. It's important for us to make sure these stories are heard and make sure we are supporting and amplifying the excellence of Black people so that the world sees us for who we truly are and not for what they think we are, because we're more than what they say we are. Thank you so much, Rashun. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. I look forward to continuing to keep in touch with you. Mm-hmm. And also, you're welcome to come back here at any time, man. Like, I've loved this back and forth that we've had, just the political talk, bro. Like, right. It kind of hijacked the show, but that's what I like to do. Let the conversation go where it's supposed to go. And I can talk politics in the Black community all day long.
My dad, my stepdad, I know he gets tired of hearing it, but when you got a fire for it, that's just what it is, man.
Yeah, bro. Sometimes it's a fire that you can't put out. But hey, don't hang up yet. I'm gonna close out the show real quick.
Okay.
Hope you all enjoyed it, man. We had a great time, a great conversation. Make sure you all go support the Wright Excellence Festival at the Dalton Fairgrounds this weekend. Big baby, yeah.